Hello! I got things working. We're live. Hello, everyone. Yeah. So, today, we are playing a game that does things. No. Yeah. So, we are playing a game called Happiest Apocalypse on Earth, as part of the October, creepy goodness, stuff. So super stoked about that. A couple of announcements. Nerds with Dice does have merchandise that you can buy now. Let me put that in there. Please say you posted. Did you post? I don't think it did. I might have to. For some reason, my Streamlabs has been a little finicky.
Oh,
So
it
bear
showed
with
up
me.
that we now have merch.
Yeah, it just I had to do it from my phone. So yeah, so that there's a link to that. There's T-shirts and that sort of thing, and they're super neat. I'm actually looking at getting one myself. Another thing, Nerds with Dice is actually now an affiliate with Grinding Coffee Company, and they're yeah. So here is that, and there is a link or coupon code that allows you to get 10% off if you order coffee through there. I have actually been looking at the Gay Agenda coffee blend specifically because if I have, like problematic family members, I can just serve them coffee, not tell them anything, and just be like, yes, drink in the Gay Agenda. It's beautiful. Um, so yeah, definitely. And Nerds with Dice also has a Discord. That link is in their about section. Um, and yeah, I suppose I should say who I am. I am Kate, also known as Undead K. You can find me here. Some Tuesdays, things have kind of been, real life has been happening, but we do play Kingdom Hearts Dreams of Nobodies with Bardic Knock and a few other folks that are awesome here. Tuesdays, hopefully, we'll be back to that soon. And I'm running this for the next 3 Saturdays. Rise of Rosie as part of the spoopy season. And I do have my own Twitch channel. It's just Undead K. You can find it there. I should hopefully be getting back into a normal streaming schedule now that I have a PC that has, an actual functional hard drive because mine went out for a while. Uh, and yeah, we're playing Rise of Rosie, and I'm super stoked about it. Let's go around and meet our players this evening. Let's start with A Tired By. Who are
Oh,
you? Who are you playing? Tell us a little bit about your character.
hi. My name is Tired By. You can normally find me in places where, like, my friends such as Undead K is. I am also at over on her channel on every second Thursday, so not this Thursday coming, but the next one, where we play her Cursive Strahd campaign, which is very wonderful. And I play an ASMR bard there named Zatari, and it is very great. Uh, and for my character, I have this lovely little chap by the name of Kevin Merlot, who has been working at the park for quite some time now and has been scheduled to work a special event that is one of its own kind in order to possibly move up in position. But yeah, in terms of a very quick description, sweet little gay bean.
Yes.
That's the vibes that I have thought of as I was making his like little character icon.
Best bean must protect.
Best bean must protect, please don't take his soul.
It's not a Tuesday. It's fine. I don't take souls on days that are not Tuesday. Um,
Okay.
Out.
All right, so moving on. Let's go ahead and introduce our next player, Rain. Tell us who you are playing as. I just realized something. And yeah.
I am Rain Hayes. I don't think I have anything else going on right now, so I can't plug anything. I have D&D products on the DM's Guild, if you want to check those out. I am playing Dominic Gray, who is an accidental competent Shaggy. He's just a guest at the park. He's just wandering around with his camera, wants to take pictures, wants to show his younger sibling the park that he could never afford before.
Yeah. And yeah. I don't know where I was going with that. Okay.
You were going to reveal spoilers is where you're going.
No. I just realized that your Twitter handle on here says @Twitter handle, and I'm like, wait, I need to fix that. I thought I had fixed that.
You can find me on Twitter @Twitter.
You can find @Twitter.
Rain owns little did all of you know, Rain owns all of Twitter.
Fun fact.
I am the enemy.
So I'm working on fixing that in the meantime, so bear with me. While I am fixing my mistakes, because I am professional streamer, not at all, let's go ahead and introduce our final player of the evening. Star, who are you? Who are you playing as? Tell us a little bit about your character.
Yes, hello, I'm Star. I use she, they pronouns. You can find me on various social media sites as Mad Rad Starchild. I have been in a lot of like one-shots and things lately. I am playing a Cthulhu Dark Light version every other Monday on what is it? Maddie Games?
So Maddie Games, I believe.
So Maddie Games, yes. I should know the channel I stream on. And I sometimes stream mostly wholesome video games that are not too difficult because I'm not very good at them. Sometimes randomly on no particular schedule. And tonight I will be playing Marguerite Delaney. They use she, they pronouns, and they are the resident goth princess at character face actor at the park.
Awesome. Yeah, super excited to meet all of the players and get to know your characters a bit more. I've played with a few of you in various things like ATB and Rain. I've played with Rain a bit. But yeah, I'm super excited about this. So let's really quick just kind of like give a brief rundown of what exactly it is we're doing, because I didn't really do that thing. It's been a day, so just bear with me. So Druitt's Dream World, created by Emlyn Druitt, is essentially a totally not Disney World at all, legally distinct. This is basically taking the place of. Emlyn Druitt has created a wonderful cast of characters. She kind of came from the 1920s. She started a small animation studio and it kind of grew into a giant empire. And this is not the Disney origin story at all. Her most famous character and the face of Druitt's empire is Rosie Rabbit, a cartoon rabbit girl. And she has a girlfriend by the name of Ruby Rabbit. Then a couple of other famous faces that are not at all akin to Donald and Goofy whatsoever, because we have Gilbert Goose, thank you very much, who is one of Ruby's best friends, and we have Casey, another one of Ruby's best friends, who they're not entirely sure what exactly looks like a cat, sort of, but there are also cats. Rosie has a pet cat, so We don't question these things. Neither do any of the fans. And essentially, she's built an empire over the years. It is modern day times, and she did pass several years prior, but essentially just grew an empire. There's movies based off of the Grimm's fairy tales, but of course a lot more lighthearted. There are, there's merchandise, there's books, if you can think it, it's probably touched Druid's Dream World Empire at some point or another. And today, however, is a special day at Druid's Dream World. 323 lucky guests from across the country won an all-expense paid, one-of-a-kind trip that concludes with an overnight stay inside of the main park on the last night of Rosie's Less Than Frightful Halloween Festival. This is tonight, and we're sure that it will be ever so dreamy. Don't mind the screams, those are of sheer delight, Rosie promises. So, you all, we have a couple of you who are employees of the park, and you all have a sort of meeting before the guests, the winners essentially of these tickets have arrived. You're basically having a meeting, and there's essentially, she's sort of the head of the park. She's kind of more like the general manager. And she's kind of like like a heavy set woman, kind of, one of those, as she, she's not the one to walk around the park. She always kind of drives a little golf cart, and what have you. But she is actually showing her face this evening, that kind of indicates to you that this is a special thing. And she sort of stands out of her golf cart and is just like, all right, so all of you have been chosen to work this special event, right? Yeah. All right. Well, your task is gonna be to guide groups of guests, and you're gonna have to make sure that they get through the park and have a once-in-a-lifetime experience. You'll be taking them behind the scenes, riding the rides, special behind-the-scene tours. And should you pass, you'll become a full-fledged member of Druid's engineer team. What say you? Crowd kind of gives like that half-hearted little yay. Some are more enthused than the others. Kevin and Marguerite, how do you feel about this?
Did you say, are we outside?
Yeah, you're outside at the main gates. This is basically before the park essentially like opens to these contest winners. You're
Okay.
actually down by the main entrance, which is over here on the gigantic map.
Yes, gotcha. Marguerite is there with her black lace parasol, and just like claps lightly, and doesn't overtly appear like super enthusiastic, but like internally is like, yeah, I definitely want to be like a full-fledged member. This will be fun.
Meanwhile, Kevin has like a little lollipop just in his mouth, just chomping. He's like the guy who is just kind of like famous for just having a sweet tooth. He usually has like a bit of a stash on him. And he is just like also clapping, and is like super enthusiastic because he's been wanting to, because he knows that like if he passes tonight, whatever that means, like he's gonna get into the position that he really wants, which is guest relations.
Yeah, now Marguerite, both you and Kevin do know that guest relations is one of those few positions that is not open to everyone. It's kind of one of those, you have to be whatever this initiated means in order to work guest relations. So, are you both standing together or just kind of off doing your own thing?
I feel like Marguerite would have gravitated toward him.
Okay. It keeps blurring my pop filter.
Oh.
All right. You kind of get divvied up into like small groups and spend, most of the afternoon. The park for once was actually closed earlier that had closed early. So it actually only like ran until about noon, whereas it usually doesn't close until about 9 or 10 in the evening. But it did close at noon, so they could, put up various, Halloween decor, what have you. And so you kind of spend the afternoon sort of like hanging, cheesy little bats and, little cotton spider webs and what have you. And finally, the time arrives and you get paired off. You do luck out and you both get paired off together. To kind of work with one another. And guests start flowing in. As the guests flow in and everybody sort of gets divvied up and they give the rundown of, tonight's a special night. You're getting a one-of-a-kind view of the park. Behind the scenes, people have died trying to, get behind these scenes. But, oh wait, not died. I mean, people have had injuries, trying to break the rules of the park. There are certain areas that are not safe for, guests, but, you get to view those tonight, but you'll be safe because you'll be with these. And she'll, like, sort of show off, the various engineers or cast member, or engineers. And they start divvying up groups, and one by one you see kind of groups getting paired off. However, it seems that they've kind of run out of people to give you. And oddly enough, even though you were told that there were 323 people exactly, there is one lone person who has not been placed into a group. Dominic, you're sort of just standing around. I guess maybe off in a corner or wherever you decide to place yourself. And they kind of glazed you over.
I mean, I'm used to that.
Oh.
It's very easy to just stand back in a corner somewhere and be still, and people will just kind of fade out around you. So I'll just be sitting there with my hands on my hoodies, the camera wrapped around my neck, have like the bunny ear merch on my head.
All right. So do you say anything, or are you just kind of hanging out like, whatever?
I'm actually I'm clicking on my phone trying to call someone, and then as soon as it hits voicemail, I just click off again, and I just keep trying over and over again. So I'm kind of focused on that.
Okay. Do either of you notice this person? Oddly enough, they've kind of run out of people. Do you say anything, or?
I'll kind of look around and be like, well, I guess you're with us. Wait, Gray?
Oh, look, yeah?
How's it going? It's me, Marguerite.
Oh, hi. Oh, crap. I mean, hi. It's been a while since we've seen each other. You haven't seen my sister around here anywhere, have you? I've been trying to call her. I think she wandered off with her friends.
Probably got sorted into a different group.
Yeah. Pretty sure she's trying to duck me. So I guess I got to go on this tour thing. I was supposed to go with her, but she's gone. She's made tracks.
At this point, Kevin will just kind of go over and be like, well, if there's, I guess if there's, if you're the only one here, then, suppose, yeah, I guess you'll just come tour with us, and then if we happen to catch your sister with any of the other groups, then we can just kind of flag them down and tell them, and just basically make sure that she knows where you are, you know where she is.
Cool. Well, I guess I'm sticking with you two. Weren't there supposed to be like groups for each pair?
At
Maybe.
this, Gertrude's gonna kind of just like toddle over. I gotta apologize. I don't know how this happened. I mean, and she kind of pulls out a clipboard and just like licks her finger and like is thumbing through the pages, with this just like feverish energy. And I really, we had, it says right here, 323 guests. And we had 42 employees, and everything was divided up evenly, but somehow there's 2 of you left over and 1 guest. And she's just gonna kind of like look over down the road, sort of back at the castle, and just sort of like pause and just stare for a moment, but that moment goes on a little bit longer than is comfortable. And then she focuses back her attention. Right. Yeah, so I guess you 3 are together. Park doesn't make mistakes. We don't make mistakes here at Druid's Dream World, so this was meant to be. So your goal. You had to choose one of the lands to start out with, and just pick a ride. You know, I'm sure Kevin here can tell you all about, or Marguerite can tell you all about like some of the behind the scenes stuff, and I can assure you, it's gonna be a special one tonight. There's gonna be things no one has ever seen. So, like I said, pick a land, pick a ride, and make it through the night. And she's gonna kind of like pat both hands, like one hand on Kevin's shoulder, one hand on Marguerite's shoulder, and just be like, and make sure he has there's an unforgettable experience. And she's gonna kind of toddle off.
Well, that didn't seem ominous at all.
Yeah, no, the creep factor is very low on that one.
Very low. Anyway, Gray, well, since you're the guest, which land would you like to go to first?
There are 4 lands in total. You have Future Town, Future Town being known for rides like Space Explorer. There's Steamtown that has a pretty neat little pirate ride. Anytown is less rides and more of like hanging out with the different characters. And there's like carnival-esque games. And then finally you have Fantasy Town, which is probably like the biggest. It has a bunch of different dark rides. There is a little like haunted house esque sort of dark ride. There's dark rides for various characters, a carousel. And yeah.
No, you want to go to the biggest first? Go to Fantasyland?
Works for me.
Mm-hmm. Works for me too.
Kevin, didn't they say something about making wishes?
Oh, you mean like that tradition in that tradition of looking up at at the like the highest star like up near the castle?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I know that. I mean, I guess I haven't really done that before, but you know, it's a pretty big thing. I know like a lot of people take it very seriously. I know I saw uh you know Jim who's like in the service department. I saw him like almost like slap a guy for like calling it silly. Yeah.
Well, the other princesses seem to emphasize it very frequently.
Hmm.
Yeah, and you do both remember that during this meeting and like the preparation from earlier in the day, somebody did like in management actually did make a note to say, be sure to let you and your guests know that if they desire something, to simply wish on the star hanging above the castle, and perhaps their greatest desires will be fulfilled this evening. Um, so yeah.
Well, Gray, just so you know, they've encouraged us to wish upon the star at any point this evening.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I'm going to be doing that a lot tonight. I'm going to turn around and snap a picture of the entryway.
Are you taking a picture of just the entryway, or?
I'm doing like yeah, basically just the entryway, but it's like my introductory. I'm going to start taking pictures now. I'll take a picture of the first thing I see, which is the opening.
Okay, cool. I didn't know if it was like one of those like lean back selfie cam thing. I don't know.
No, actually, that's an idea that I'll like gather them closer to me and take a selfie with them. Like, if nothing
Aw.
else, this is gonna make Kaylee jealous.
Cool. Do you usually like look at your pictures or nah?
Now I'll review them like later
Later.
when I get a nice grouping of them that I can get through.
Cool. So you kind of walk through, and you being an annual pass holder, and the two of you working here are very familiar with the layout. This is kind of like the main strip, and you sort of walk down, and there's a bunch of shops, gift stores, restaurants. The gift stores each have like themes to them, and you do know Fantasyland is like on the far opposite end of the park. So it does take a little bit of time, especially since you're kind of like following groups who are kind of like meandering and just snapping photos and, whispering and talking to various costume characters who are also sort of working the events. It's a bit more sparse than usual, but there are a few like costume princesses, people in full, Rosie, what are they called? The little, I guess full costume is really where they got the giant head and stuff. Those things have always kind of made me a little uncomfortable, but it's fine. And yeah, so you finally make your way to the center of the park. You know that Fantasyland is in this direction. Do you stop to take a break, or you just kind of keep going?
I'm gonna keep going.
Okay.
Yeah, Kevin will also keep going while kind of just rambling on like, so is there anything you wanna go look at first? Any particular ride, any particular shop, any particular thing?
Mostly, I just want to like wander and take as many pictures as I can. What kind of
Well,
rides are in Fantasyland? And that's from
Uh,
everybody else on the spot.
yeah. I gave a brief rundown earlier. I'm happy to kind of give that again, or if somebody else wanted to answer in character.
Well, there's a haunted house ride that is appropriate, I think, for today. There are some princesses that will be there that I work with. Um, what kind of rides are you interested in?
But going through the haunted house would be pretty fun.
I know the haunted house is like it has been really great this year. They did like a lot of renovations.
Well, I mean, if we're going to start it off, we should start off with the haunted house. It's the best season for it.
Hmm.
Seems appropriate.
Besides, if we do it in the semi daytime that it is now, it should be fine, right?
Oh yeah. I
You're
mean,
not afraid of the dark, are you?
No, no, no.
ha have you heard a rumor of the apparition that supposedly comes out at the stroke of midnight?
No. There's an apparition that comes out at midnight?
Supposedly there was like this group of people with like this big like iTube account that like tried to prove there was like some sort of spirit of the bride of the of the captain who owned the mansion who comes out at midnight, and if you gaze upon her too long you'll die. And yeah, it took a lot of weeks to get them to leave. But anyway, I can guarantee that there is nothing wrong with the mansion.
I just love how Kevin's like, no, I guarantee nothing at all.
Did you hear about this rumor that no longer applies at all?
Love it. And now my cat's trying to jump in my lap. Rude.
and we're gonna go and yeah, we should definitely do this when it's like still a little bit light out. Let's go to the haunted. Yeah, let's like.
Okay, cool. So you finally make your way over to
Well before the stroke of midnight.
well before, yeah. Yeah, I mean it's dark out now. I mean the park is well lit, but it is dark out. It's probably like 8 o'clock or so. And with it being fall, it's not like the summer where 8 o'clock in Florida is still super brightly lit. No. Uh, so you sort of make your way and you pass through the grand arches. You pass the teacup ride, one of the dark rides known as like Itty Bitty World is here. And you sort of make your way to the castle or the manor. The manor, I believe I actually named it the Haunted Palace. Yeah, Haunted Palace, because it's totally not a thing. Yeah, so you make your way over, and there's this like grand garden that kind of acts as like a maze for the queue. And through the maze there's like occasional like creatures that'll just like whoa jump out at you.
That is an excellent way to manage crowds.
Yeah.
The ones that can get through the maze can go on the ride.
Yeah, and there is a slight line right now, but it's nothing near as bad as when it's when the park is usually open. There's probably like 2 or 3 groups in front of you.
I'll be snapping off pictures as we're going. Get like an external view of the building, get some of the other princesses that are wandering around, and probably get a crap ton of guests in the way of the pictures.
Yeah. There's not really like a perception roll. No, not really a perception roll.
Maybe wise? If you want to go perception?
Well, I was gonna say, I mean, I guess, like, based off of your wise, in the distance you do hear, like, like, maybe one or two of you hear some screaming, coming from from one of the dark rides over here. But it's not of, the usual, like, excitement and thrills. In fact, for some reason, they actually sound genuinely scared, which is weird because the haunt line is right here. So that's a little weird, but, I guess.
Alice doesn't extend all the way over there, does it?
No, that's a different ride.
Yeah, that's a different ride entirely, honestly.
It's like a roller coaster, or... I'm just saying that didn't sound happy.
No, it didn't. But I don't think there's any reason to be alarmed yet.
It could be just like, we always like get like people who go on to dark rides and don't read like you should know this, right? Like, we always have like the little pamphlet and stuff on, like, before the ride saying this is what you can experience. Like, sometimes people don't listen to them. It could be a case of that, in which case there's probably people over there to deal with that.
How many voices did I hear screaming? Was like a whole crowd, or was it just a few?
Just like a few. If you had to make a guesstimate, probably just like a group or so. They're divided into groups of like 10 to 15 folks.
Well, that's... I mean, I'll take your word for it, but that's still wonky. That's...
We can always
kind of want to go
take a
over there,
look.
but I also don't want to get out of line.
We could take a look after this ride.
Yeah, honestly, that might be for the best, because in case something did go wrong, I know that the security department will probably be going over there, and if there was anything concerning the rides, then I'm sure I would get a call. Plus, I wouldn't want to put A, you, Gray, in any danger, and B, Marguerite, I wouldn't want to put you in any danger and also your job in jeopardy.
Well, I mean, if nothing else, if it was just some random thing that happened, it leads us to the next ride anyway.
Indeed.
One of the guests kind of hears, like, leads to the next ride and will actually turn and be like, did you know that this castle, this palace is just a facade? Like, it actually runs underneath the building. I bet you didn't know that. Like, it's just, this is all fake. The ride itself is underground and then way back there. I thought it was pretty cool anyway.
You learn something new every day.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna look at them like, aren't you supposed to know that?
Kevin is just doing like the polite nod of humoring.
I've worked here for about a year, and I've never actually been on any of the rides.
Well, that sounds like you're missing out.
Oh yeah.
Screw that. We're going on as many rides as we can.
Yep, we have to. We need to give you the full experience.
I love the fatalism. Yep, we have to.
This is your life now. All right, so that guest.
The entire staff is really good at the ominous talk.
That's part of the training, is you have to like speak slightly ominously, but everything's fine. It's fine.
Yeah. Sorry. There was like, I had to go through like 2 classes of ominous talking 101. It comes out a lot.
There was a lunch period indoctrination that we had to go through.
It really scares like the people who take my coffee order sometimes.
All right, so you kind of enter the building, and the building, yes, well, it is, a facade, as this person says. There is like a little walkthrough area, and you kind of see, suits of armor and all these, sets, props, all of that, and finally you're sort of led to, the groups kind of dwindle that were in front of you one by one. They kind of go into the ride, and as you approach the entrance to the ride, you, I would say you, Kevin, in particular, since you're, you work here, and Marguerite, I guess, hasn't been on any of the rides, you would know that this room is kind of like this illusory room that kind of goes, it seems like it's going up when in fact it's dropping down. That leads everybody to the actual little ride carts that sort of move through the place like a maze. And you finally are able to get into the room, and the room sort of like seals around you. And there's, one of the park employees. They're kind of dressed up like a butler, and they're just, welcome to the Haunted Palace. This is a place where you can witness the story of Countess von Hausen. I came up with that name on the spot. I don't. And he kind of goes, huh?
My brain just went Baron Munchausen.
Oh my god! Von Hausen, not Munchausen.
It's a baroness, not a baron.
I almost said Van Richten, then I was like, wait, no, I'm not running Curse of Strahd.
Better than me. My first thought was Countess von Sorrowfish.
Oh my god!
We're gonna hit the licensing from the other direction.
Little did you know. Yeah, so, and he's just, once upon a time, the Countess moved to this land to wed her husband, unknowing of his cruelty. Eventually, she grew tired of his mannerisms and took things into her own hand. Her and her 7 daughters now roam these halls hundreds of years later, and sorry, my brain just went blank. Oh right, okay. And tonight you will meet them all, and you sort of feel the room going up, and these portraits of the Countess and a few other people sort of, at first the portraits look normal, but over time they seem to be getting squished further and further down. But in fact you are moving downwards, as they said. And eventually you kind of, lights sort of turn off entirely, and he goes, now, your first task is to escape this room. And the lights sort of flicker on and off, bit disconcerting, but the lights sort of flicker, it's very disorienting, and then you're found left standing in a room alone with no windows and no doors.
Gray's mind is alternating between, so the ride is an escape room, and my god, 7 daughters. barely handle one little sister.
Hmm.
Okay, so I guess we have to escape the room.
Mm-hmm.
Any ideas, people that work here?
Well, this is a very interesting twist on things. I'm sure if we got stuck, we could wish for a hint or ask for a hint, and they would help us.
I'm gonna push on the walls.
I just want to look around and see if there's any like writing or like pictures or like objects to move.
There are a
Um,
few pictures on the walls.
okay. Can I, in doing that, can I use my move, find out what all this is? Use all available resources, online or otherwise, to learn new information that you didn't have access to before. I also have a tablet with access to the database, but I don't know if I want to use that quite yet.
Okay, yeah. If you want to go ahead and roll. Trying to remember. Well, it's actually
This one's plus wise.
yeah, plus wise. That's right.
9.
Okay, so that's a success.
On a 7+, you find the information you were looking for explained by the narrator or through the narrative.
Okay. So as you're kind of, going through the pictures and you notice that the various pictures, you had the initial ones where it showed the woman and her 7 daughters, and those kind of just got squished into nothingness. And you see a few other pictures that seem to have just kind of appeared in their place a few feet below. And you watch as like the pictures are a bit distorted. There's like this malice about the woman and her daughter, and you kind of start moving them around. And you find that as you go to tilt the picture of the countess, a panel in the wall actually slides open, leading further into the ride, and you see another hallway with this Victorian-esque wallpaper, a few doors, a few pictures, and yeah. So you figured it out.
Well, a secret passageway. Would you like to lead the way? I'll look at Gray.
Look at that slightly alarmed, like, sure.
You're the guest. We're supposed to be making
Yeah.
sure you have an excellent, one-of-a-kind experience.
As you know, it would be unfair for us to kind of just go in front and be like, here's all the things, you're not gonna see it, you're only gonna see the backfire heads. Let's go.
I'm gonna stare down the hallway and just mutter, I did not smoke enough this morning for this. Walk down the hallway.
All right. So you start walking down the hall. And as you're walking, the hall it just keeps going. It seems like as you progress, there's just no end to it. And finally, after you feel that you've been walking for, far too long, you actually reach another waiting area where you see the guests that had went just before you, sitting on these little rides and basically like these little carts, and the carts are shaped like little coffins, and you watch as the safety bar kind of goes down into their lap, and they're like bouncing in excitement.
So this is when I say that my ADHD just took over because I missed the last part of that.
Yeah, so basically, no, you're fine. So basically, you walk through this hallway. It's going on forever and a day. And then you discover, like, just as you're like, oh my gosh, surely this thing can't be going on much longer. You actually do discover that it lets out into a different queue, where you see the group that was just in front of you actually getting on the ride, and there's, little coffin shaped buggies, and the bars are closing, and they're like super excited.
I'll just quickly snap off a picture of them getting on. Well, at least we don't have to escape this room.
Nope. Is there any other space, or would we have to wait for the other guests to go before getting on the...
So each group is about like 10 to 15 guests or so this one looks to be about like 15. So they're kind of like, they filled up the carts.
Okay.
And there's, little like spooky organ music playing inside this queue. So you just gotta kind of wait for them to leave.
Okay.
And the next ride, which that it kind of just rotates pretty consistently, so it should take about 2-3 minutes or so, if that. For the previous group to like get off, or one of the other groups to like get off, and you can take their place.
Okay. I think then Kevin will just relay that and be like, so yeah, really all we gotta do is kind of wait here for our turn.
You know how long it takes?
2 to 3 minutes.
Well, while we're waiting, I'll kind of look around the hall and see if there's any more pictures of the Countess, if they look any different, what kind of decorations this hallway has.
Yeah, it's kind of like your standard Victorian haunt, like, spooky house. It's got the super filigreed, wallpapers, the dark wood paneling over the half. You do notice that there's some kind of like weird illusion, like with some of the portraits that align the walls. So as you're like looking at the portraits, you like move your head a little bit, and they, turn skeletal or like menacing, and this is just one of those ride designer tricks.
Oh no, we've gone to Death House.
Rose, where are you?
Oh no. This is actually, that's actually, I'm not even gonna lie, that's actually part of the whole thing with the Haunted Mansion, is they do have, like, little pictures and stuff, and it's kind of neat. Like, as you're going through the queue, you can, like, push buttons, and it'll, like, play music on tombstones and stuff. It's really neat. But this is not the Haunted Mansion. This is the Haunted Palace.
If there are buttons, I will go around and push all of the buttons.
Yeah, when you, I guess if you want to just, like, pick a place where there's, like, a weird effect or something, feel free. You go to push a button. What does it do?
I got the perfect way to scare myself, because this actually happened to me in real life. Go over next to, like, one of the bigger portraits and push a button, and if the face will come out of the portrait and turn to look at me and then go back in. For the record, that did actually happen to me, and it scared the shit out of me.
I mean, that sounds like it would make anybody jump. Do either you, Kevin, or Marguerite do anything while waiting, interacting with the queue?
Kevin will go to like one of the smaller, like, just like this like little area where there's like a bunch of smaller portraits all in a row with buttons, and just hits them, like, almost as if trying to play some sort of tune, because there's like, whenever you press a button, they give out a scream at like different octaves. So suddenly there is just like very musical screaming as Kevin is
musical screaming.
Yep, that's where I'm going with it. As Kevin's just pushing the buttons like with glee.
Starting to
Who's more
suspect what that other ride was now.
I will look on the like if there's a plaque under the pictures to see if the names of the countess's daughters are posted.
Yeah. Give me 1 second here.
You're making him come up with 6 more names.
How dare you? No, 7 actually. No. I had them written down somewhere, and then like I moved things around to try to organize stuff between. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. All right. So we've got Aurelia, and that's Aurelia. Iris.
Aurelia?
Yeah. Kind of like old school names here. Iris. Iris. Eloise. Eloise. Ophelia. Aurora. Eleanor. And Daphne, Daphne, which I'll write all those down for y'all.
Oh, okay, thanks. I was about to ask for like a repeat of one of the names, so.
No, you're good. Hold up, give me 1 second here. I got you.
I put it in chat.
Oh, okay, awesome. Thank you.
Oh, thanks.
But yeah, and you as primarily a princess, like, do you like study any of the lore behind these rides or anything like that?
Yeah, even though I haven't like been on the rides, I would know like the fairy tales that they're based off of and stuff.
Okay. So this isn't actually like based off of like a specific fairy tale per se. This is something that various ride creators had kind of like come up with back in the 70s. They wanted Druid was known to have always wanted a haunted house. And so they finally, like, as the park grew, decided to give it a try. And there was this weird conflict of like, do we make it super creepy or do we make it light and fun? And these daughters and this mother, it's rumored that they're essentially the story goes is that they're kind of like Black Widow brides in a sense. They were rumored to have possessed some sort of vampiric, made some sort of deal to become vampiric. They're famous for one, each wielding a different type of weapon, and they'd sort of like woo various people into falling in love with them. And it said that the house is basically filled with the spirits of all of these forlorn, or forlorn, is that the right word?
That is a word.
It is a word.
I don't know if it's the right word.
I don't think it's the right word.
Yeah.
Basically of all the various lovers. The house is filled with the souls of all the various lovers. And
Were you maybe thinking of Forsaken?
I think I was thinking of Forsaken. Like I said, my brain's a little fuzzy tonight. Unfortunately, it happens sometimes. But yeah, so that's basically the story. But you know that the ride kind of like does ease up at one point. Like the graveyard at the beginning is super like happy, fun, and then the tonal shift when you actually enter the house. Yeah.
I will share this lore for Gray's benefit.
All the while, I'm just going like this at the portrait that keeps staring at me.
All right, Kevin, do you say or do anything with this information?
I think Kevin will just nod along and go. I know that there was one time where there was like one time back at one of my old high schools where there was like these group of like basically the popular girls who like dressed up as the different brides and totally went for the vampire shtick. Like they all had like the regular outfits and then just had like a bunch of vampire like makeup. I also like heard like rumors that there was gonna be like a live action movie like top with like the vampire like side of spin of the story in it, but never picked up.
I was not thinking fast enough. I was trying to come up with an alternative name to Marvel.
Alternative name to Marvel.
Marble.
Just Marble Studios.
Marvin Studios.
Marvin. I kind of like Marvin.
The Marvin Cinematic Universe.
Yes, the Marvin Cinematic Universe. I actually really like that.
Recently acquired. I hear they're making a movie now. Yeah, I'll basically be like, I'll be watching all of these portraits watching me, and I'll just end up in a corner somewhere. Just like hugged back in a corner with all these portraits staring at me.
I will say it's at that moment that, like, as you have backed away and both you, Kevin, and Marguerite are kind of like sharing this information, that the carts will actually pull in, and two can fit to a seat. In these coffin carts.
I'm getting in specifically to get away from the portraits.
Kevin, if you'd like to join Gray, I can go by myself.
Okay, if you're sure, then I can go. And I guess Kevin will go to the seat next to Gray's if Marguerite is very sure.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean the carts are only like a couple of feet behind one another. You've probably only got about 2-3 feet, so it's not like you're completely separated.
It's not like the party is completely split.
No.
Only it's slightly uncomfortable the fact that I just escaped the portraits to have the goth lady right behind me.
Yeah,
it's fine.
So everybody kind of loads in on the carts. My hands keep disappearing in the blur background and it throws me off. Sorry. So as everybody kind of gets loaded into the coffin carts, the bar, you're used to typically like having to pull the bar on yourself. This is one of those few rides that actually does it for you. So it kind of like secures, and you can adjust it if it's uncomfortable or anything. And the ride will begin. I think we are going to go ahead and take a break just a little early today because I gotta take some medicine and stuff. But we'll be back in about 5-10 minutes or so. And we'll get back into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, a little earlier than we would usually be taking it, but I gotta take some medicine. So yeah, we will be back shortly. Bye.
See you in a bit. We're not actually ending stream.
Okay, hello. We are back, everyone. And yeah, so when last we left, everybody is starting to take part of this event. Kevin and Marguerite, who are both employees of the park in various manners, were basically told guide your guests through and make sure that they have an unforgettable experience. Um, and this will supposedly initiate them. And the group quickly found that calculations may have been off, except totally not, because the park doesn't make mistakes apparently. And so they ended up being paired with only one guest, Dominic Gray, who they apparently knew from back in the day. And from there, it was kind of like a hey, choose your spot, and they decided to take a tour of the Haunted Palace ride, in Fantasyland, this building here. And after kind of navigating through the queue and being trapped in a room that seemingly didn't have an exit, discovered that that was still somehow part of the queue. And managed to finally get on the ride itself. So everybody is now seated on coffin carts with Kevin and Dominic sitting side by side, Marguerite in the cart right behind them because the carts only seat 2 people. And the bar had lowered and the ride begins. So as you sort of start to go through, you hear, this haunting organ music, and at first it sounds very ominous, but it very quickly just swells and starts playing almost like a ragtime-esque tune as you enter this massive graveyard filled with like these projections of ghosts doing various like dances and jigs over various gravestones and such. And it kind of winds around and through the graveyard. At one point you see a man with a top hat, and at first he looks like a normal man, but he's holding a lantern, and and you very quickly see as you approach in the cart, the lantern sort of flickers on and off, and his face shifts from that of normal human to a skeletal face, and the carts kind of start to go up on an incline towards what you assume is out of the graveyard. You just see nothing but blackness before you, and suddenly the ride stops, and the lights and all the music start to distort and eventually stops as the lights sort of like flicker and the music stops. It all just falls deathly silent.
Hey, Kevin, is this part of the ride?
Is this part of the ride?
No,
DM?
it is not.
It's not. It could just be like a technical glitch. Huh. I assume that like the seats are still like in place.
Yeah, the bars have not lifted. So the carts are kind of, you're sitting at that slight incline, and the carts are just stuck in place. You're kind of stuck in place. If you jiggle the cart handle, it doesn't really seem to do anything.
Was the guy with the wonky face, was that an actual person or was that animatronics?
Animatronics.
Well, he's not going to be very helpful.
Are there other guests like in front of us or behind us?
There was a group that had left a few minutes before you, but oddly enough, these carts kind of like are grouped into like sections of like 3 to 5, almost as if the carts kind of like matched for some reason the exact number of people. I would say, Kevin, with your background, you're used to during the day the carts just kind of all kind of go in a line on this. The ride itself is trackless, meaning it's not actually like adhered to a specific track, because it is one of the more, it had been updated to more recent part standards, and you're used to it being in a line, but for some reason, whatever programming whoever was in charge of like planning this event seemed to, for some reason, it's like the carts just sort of match however many people are in the various groups.
So I'm gonna look around to see if there's like anything obvious, like something lodged in the track or not track logs lodged underneath the coffin, or if there's like something sparking or anything obviously electronic or mechanical that's wrong.
Okay. I think.
There is a move for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say there is a move for that.
To find something there that wasn't there before.
Yeah.
It's
So
roll
it'd
plus
be a rolls and
wise.
wise.
And this is not dig it a little deeper, so I don't get the +1.
Mm-hmm.
I get a +2. Wait. Yep, right chat. Okay. Just barely.
Okay, so on a 7 through 9, you can ask, I believe it's one of these questions on the list. So
I'll ask what happened here.
there doesn't seem to be anything necessarily mechanical about it. There's nothing wrong mechanically. It's almost as if some sort of outside force has forced you to be like in this spot and has like taken it upon themselves to shut the ride down.
And if I look behind me, do I see that the rest of the ride behind us that we just went through, is that working or is it off?
Everything is off. Like you are actually currently like everybody is sitting in the dark. And currently stuck inside the coffin carts.
I'm gonna take out my smartphone and put it on flashlight mode.
Nice.
Okay. So you take out your smartphone and you put your phone into flashlight mode, and now phone flashlights aren't the best. And you're kind of scanning it around, and everything just seems very eerie. You know, you're at the cusp of this like tunnel of darkness, and you know, off to the side and behind you there's the little graveyard where various like projections of spirits and such were like dancing happily behind you and singing and dancing and all of that. But everything, you know, in the dark, it's like, ooh, it's dark in here. This doesn't feel right. And as you sort of scan with your phone, you catch the corner of what looks to be a white dress just sort of disappear behind one of the fake trees.
Are there live actors on this ride? I've mostly been seeing animatronics and the holograms.
Most of the live actors are outside, right?
I think so. I mean, we could like shout out and ask.
I have access to the PA system.
Oh, you could do that.
Just announce that we're stuck in the dark and.
Oh, I also got my walkie-talkie. I could try to like contact one of the one of the other maintenance people possibly.
That seems like a better idea.
Just putting out there, maybe declaring over the PA that the ride's broken down is not the most job secure thing that you can do.
Very true.
But yeah, Kay, would it be okay for me to use my walkie-talkie to try to contact someone?
Yeah, you can absolutely do that.
Okay, so Kevin gets out to walkie-talkie because I assume like arms are still able to be moved.
Yeah.
And
you're not like pinned in place. Your arms are still, well, you are, but not your arms.
yeah. So Kevin takes out his walkie-talkie and presses the button and goes, this is Kevin Merlo. I'm over at the Haunted Palace ride. Me and two others were on it where we were at the basically at like the right past the graveyard, and the ride suddenly stopped. If anyone can get back to me, that would be great. Over.
When you kind of tune into, the maintenance channel and stuff and you relay your message, at first all you hear is just static in response. But after a few moments, you start to hear, like, as if somebody is trying to respond to you, um, but it's not discernible. As a few more moments pass, though, it gets more and more clear, and you hear, "If the exit you wish to see, then my heart you must seek." And then you just hear it cut to static again, and a few more moments pass, and the lantern that the animatronic man that had the skeletal face, his lantern starts to flicker and turns back on.
Well,
I'm guessing
Kevin,
that was maintenance code.
unless there was some sort of secret meeting that happened when not before I left, or after I left. No. And Kevin just puts the walkie-talkie kind of back.
They do have secret meetings quite often, and there are places that I've never been allowed into because I wasn't initiated yet.
There's an initiation?
Yes, apparently tonight is part of that.
Oh yeah, basically this is going to be like how I'm going to move from maintenance to guest relations. Like don't get me wrong, maintenance is pretty cool. The people that I work with are great. But also I know that guest relations is also a thing I've been working towards for a while now, so yeah.
I mean, I gotta admit, most places I worked didn't have an initiation. College did, but I think that was just hazing.
I mean, I'm sure that like it's just code for like promotion or something. Or like just fancy talk.
It's not a riddle?
Well, we're going nowhere fast.
Anyway.
Now I was gonna say, it seems if you need a little bit of help, you are currently stuck. However, there is someone here who works in a certain department who is, ride upkeep and may have things that could potentially help. And there are other moves and that sort of thing that could maybe at least help you get out of your current situation of being stuck in the cart.
Try to push up on the bar.
Yeah, that's kind of like the only thing I can really think of for like Kevin would be try to push up on the bar.
Okay. So you want to kind of like force it to try to like release?
Yeah, basically, because I don't think we've really talked about what he would have on hand for like maintenance. Aside from the merchandise.
As someone in your department, you do have access to standard and heavy tools. I would assume that you might have like a couple of basic tools on you, like a wrench or something. But like some of the more like hefty tools, you would know where they are typically located in the theme park areas. But you wouldn't necessarily have those on you, if that makes sense. So you have like the basic hammer and wrench and a couple of other things.
Isn't there like an emergency release for hold bars like this for if it breaks down?
Typically. But if Kevin, you said you wanted to try to force it.
Maybe. Although now I'm wondering if it's possible to use like a wrench or something to possibly loosen it.
Okay, so since this is, everybody's first time playing this, I'll kind of help you out here. So you can either, if you're trying to physically force it, you could either use Go the Distance, which would be a roll plus stout, or you also have a move that could potentially be helpful here, called Make a Bare Necessity. Now, usually it is typically like your work adds armor and that sort of thing, but I would argue, as an engineer, because it says that you can adapt, change, or improve on an object. So you could, depending on your alterations and your rolls, cause harm to the object itself, to kind of like pry the bar open or something like that. So, and that would be a roll 2d6 plus your wise stat.
Okay.
So you can do either of those.
So I think with that, I'm going to try to basically make a bare necessity and try to inflict harm on the ride so that the bar will release.
All right, so go ahead and give me that roll. 2d6 plus your wise. All right, so that is a 7. So that would be, you can add 1 harm to the ride. Now, where exactly are you, like, what are you trying to do to get this bar detached?
Basically, I'm going to try to go to the sides where the main mechanism that attaches the bar to the ride. I'm trying to get to that and try to just maneuver it so that it will loosen up, so that basically the bar will no longer be stuck and will be able to be moved.
Okay, so as you kind of lean over and you're kind of looking for something that you can finagle to push, you notice a little bolt that's kind of holding the lever in place, and you just sort of take your wrench and you just sort of yank it a few good times to loosen the bolt. You can't get a full spin because the bar is on you, but you're kind of like leaning and you can just loosen it just enough to be able to push the bar off of you, breaking free of it. So you and Dominic are now free. Marguerite is still in hers. Marguerite, is there anything you wanted to try to do? Or do you just want to kind of wait and see?
I heard Kevin's work pushing the bar up, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I think I would let Kevin try to fix mine as well first.
Okay.
Just hey, now that you're free, could you help me out as well?
No problem. And I guess there'll be another roll, Kay?
Yeah. Go ahead and give me another roll.
Can I help a friend get unstuck?
Yes, you can.
Oh.
That is a thing that can also be done.
So I can roll PAL on that. Which,
Yep.
if I'm remembering correctly, I have +3 on both of you. So yeah. Okay.
Nice.
10 plus, they take +2 to their roll.
Yeah, so
Oh,
you'll
nice.
have a +2 on your next roll to try to help get this bar off of Marguerite.
On top of
So
your
it
other
would
bonus.
be, so it would be a +3.
Yeah, because your wise is a +1.
Okay.
And that's an
Nice.
11. So you can, you could either, if you wanted to do something else, you could, or you could just apply 2 harm.
I'll apply 2 harm to it.
Okay, so when you've kind of figured it out, and now that you have that freedom of movement and you have the help of Dominic's like flashlight to actually see what you're doing, you are able to get Marguerite's bar off much more quickly than the one before. So you're now all 3 free.
Yay.
Footy.
Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll hop out of my coffin cart. So are we supposed to try to find the Countess? That message was very cryptic.
It mentioned to find a heart. And, I mean, I know a part of the story was, well, the original was after the Countess saw too deeply, saw a thing wasn't meant to see, a part of the burial was her heart was separated. So, like, because, the ancient, if you don't have all of you with like a burial ceremony, then you can't find true rest. So maybe that's connected to it. Maybe this is like some sort of somebody pulling like a weird prank and just being like, hey, now I'm turning this part into an escape room.
The lantern that Skullface was using is turned back on?
Yes, the lantern is on. So it has it, and it actually, with it being as dark as it is, kind of has a bit more of a spread. You probably got about like a 20 feet of dim light, going back to D&D 3.5, surrounding you.
I want to go up to the lantern and see if it's movable.
Okay.
Can I pick it up?
Yeah, I mean, it takes a little bit of finagling because it's, the hand is kind of closed around, so it's meant, like, if a guest ever did hop off. But with you working there, you kind of, like, know a few of the tricks. And you're like, okay, yeah, I can just move the thumb this way, and it'll release the hand, so I can remove the lantern.
Would this qualify as my, like, stealing move, take a little snack? Guys?
It could be. If you would like to roll it.
Sure.
Excuse me.
I'm rolling much better than I expected.
Those are good things.
Oh, that's a 5.
Oh, wait,
I say
you
that.
jinxed it. Oh, somebody clip that, and if not, then I'm doing it.
On a 6 or less, you are unable to take it and are also noticed.
Okay, so you think you know how to get this out. You are one of the park's princesses, so this isn't quite your wheelhouse. And as you go and you're like, yeah, no, it's totally, you just gotta pull the thumb this way. You actually, like, the hand kind of clamps around you, like, grabs your hand that you were trying to manipulate the thumb with, and you sort of have to yank it free. And as you do so, the 3 of you hear behind you,
It's gonna make me whip around.
Yeah, Kevin's gonna whip around too at that.
yank my hands away and pull out my taser and have that at the ready.
Okay. As you have your taser at the ready and all of that, and everybody kind of whips around, we've got the lantern light and the phone light. And Dominic, you see more of this dress. And you see that somebody is in it. You just haven't caught their face yet. And you kind of see whoever was, had moved behind that tree in the distance behind you has actually been kind of darting forth and moving closer to you.
Is this one of the princesses?
Do I get a glimpse of it? Does it look like a
Yeah,
princess?
I would say everybody at this point gets a look at this thing that's coming towards you all, and it's not one of the park princesses. But I would say that you are all familiar enough, having gone through the queue. You actually, it looks like it could be one of the daughters. Again, you haven't seen her face yet. But as you at first you're like, oh, is that one of the daughters? And this girl just kind of keeps and keeps moving closer and closer towards you. And finally you see the face of this girl with long brown hair, and she is wielding an axe. Her white dress is kind of stained in blood. And you would recognize that the girl with brown hair and brown eyes to be Countess von Hausen's daughter, Iris.
Oh, good to know.
And this is not part of the ride.
So, I'm going to call out something very deliberate because it's actually going to be part of a move. I'm going to call out, hey, so the ride broke down. Can you call somebody for us? And I want to dig a little deeper.
Oh.
And I want to observe the way she responds.
All right, roll me dig a little deeper.
I get +3 on that because...
Yeah.
Wait, that's the wrong command. Nice.
That is a 12.
Nice.
Okay. So she sort of just pauses and sort of tilts her head to the side. Oh, the ride broke. Isn't that a shame? She's gonna kind of look down at her axe. Huh. I suppose someone needs to help you find a way out. I could do that, if that's what you wish. And you get to ask 2 questions.
First question is, what do you intend to do?
So you get a feeling that she's not there to help you escape the ride per se. She chose her words in that she will help you escape, but she never said the ride, and she keeps looking at that axe and looking at you both. So she might be coming for you. And not to help.
So this is where I make this extremely tricky for you.
Okay.
My second question. How do I get you to defend us?
Ooh.
And I get the feeling it has to do with her other sisters.
How do I get you? You were sitting next to Kevin when the static came through the radio, and you heard the cryptic message of Goodness gracious, where'd my notes go? Wow, I'm on top of things. Okay. You remember specifically the words of, if the exit you wish to see, then my heart you must seek. And you kind of put two and two together that, based off of the little story that Kevin had told you, that you might be able to help her or get her to help you, and potentially defend you from other sisters, if you maybe bring it up that you're looking for her mother's heart.
I'm going to look at her. I'm like, I have a little sister. I know how to handle little sisters. And I'll say, when the ride broke down, we kind of got thrown into a little game, a scavenger hunt for somebody's heart. And we're supposed to get to it before your other sisters. You could help us find that heart.
You're looking for Mother's heart?
Yes.
I have been banished to the graveyard for a while. Perhaps I could. I'm trying to think. Is there a persuade? There's like a persuasive.
There
like
is
sweet.
charm the heart into deciding.
Yeah, I think for this one, so she does look a bit contemplative. But I would say it probably would need a charm the heart into deciding, which is either a sweet and a pal. And if either of you want to help with this, that is an option as well. You could maybe say or do something that might help Dominic a little bit.
Help would be appreciated because I got a +0 on sweet.
Do you think Hold Your Banner High could help? Okay.
That's one of your moves, isn't it?
Yeah, like...
Let me take a look real fast. Hold your banner high.
Could I do Fill the World with Sunshine and try to magical blessing to give Gray +1 forward?
Yeah, let's go ahead, because really either of those would work, the Hold Your Banner or Fill the World with Sunshine, so whoever wants to do a thing. I know, Marguerite, you haven't really gotten to play around with your moves too much, but yeah, just first session, so.
You can do it if you want, Marguerite.
Okay. Three! So I gain a twinkle.
You do gain a twinkle.
And nothing happens.
Okay. So you feel this this power sort of swell inside of you, and this, you almost feel a connection to Iris for a brief moment, and you're like, oh yeah, no, I could totally help here and do something. And unfortunately, the power fizzles out as quickly as it comes.
When the goth princess just isn't dark enough.
So yeah, anything else anybody wants to try before you roll to try to sweeten the deal?
I'm going to try Hold Your Banner High.
Okay.
And basically be like, hey, I'm sorry that you're kind of stuck it with this. This is, I'll be honest, I'm not really sure what's happening, but you got this. I believe in you. You can do it. And roll plus brave.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you're encouraging Dominic, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh. I fail.
When you fail on a move, do you gain experience as well? Or is it just other rolls?
No.
Yeah, typically you do gain experience, but we were talking about for the sake of this game, Actually, go ahead and mark an experience, and we'll do like a bonus thing. So, like, if you miss, the experience will be like bonus experience. But for the sake of, since this is only 3 sessions, I'll be basically giving you an advancement at the end of each. So, like, your experience could just be an additional advancement later on down the line.
Gotcha.
But yeah, Kevin did not do well with inspiration.
No, you did not. And the girl's just going to kind of look and just be like, trying to make your friend feel better. Feeble attempts. Now, you were saying? And she's going to look at Dominic.
Here's hoping. Oh.
That's 3 failures in a row.
The game doesn't want us to befriend a lady.
The audacity.
You
Out
don't get to
there.
be friends with Iris. Okay, so Iris is just going to kind of grin and just be like, No, I'm not going to help you. But you did give me an idea. I'm going to go ahead and search the graveyard on my own, and perhaps Mother's Heart's in here. And she's just going to look at you both and just be, or look at all 3 of you and just, is it worth it? No. Mother doesn't like it when I attack things unwarranted. And she's just gonna kind of like fling her axe, and it's gonna kind of like whiz past your head, Dominic, and sort of like land in the tombstone that's like right behind you. But it doesn't hit you. But it's just like that intimidating.
To demonstrate what kind of person Dominic is, and the fact that he is a slightly competent Shaggy, there's going to be a split second where he is completely unfazed, and then it catches up with his brain that something just went by his head. He goes, "Ah!"
All right, and she's going to sort of just turn around and just.
Right.
You best hurry along now before I lose my patience even more. And you will take 1 experience for that, by the way. But the graveyard has essentially been shut off to you for searching.
I had a really good idea, and just 0 follow through.
I tried to let y'all have it. The dice just said no.
Can I use my tablet? It says I have my tablet has access to database. I don't know what that database is, but see if there's any mention of like the Countess's heart in any information about this ride.
For some reason, my PDF decided it was like, I'm not gonna load part of your thing. Yeah, it doesn't really, if I remember right, it doesn't really give specifics on what the tablet does, per se. Excuse me. I would say, I mean, primarily your tablet, like, database stuff is, like, mostly configured for, like, princesses, and that sort of thing. But with some, and so it kind of takes a minute to be like, you know, okay, go through this princess, go through that princess, rides. Eventually you do find, like, it's not held off to you, but it's just, like, buried towards the bottom. You see something about reaching the attic. Supposedly there's a prop in the attic that was supposed to be a heart at some point, or was supposed to be like an obscure reference to the original story. But it's not like a definitive, yes, it's for sure in here. It's more of like a, yeah, we had plans to do this with this prop. and have like a beating heart in the attic, but it never worked properly.
Okay. Is Iris still near us?
She's kind of like gone off into the graveyard, and is kind of like searching, like frantically searching. You watch as she's like pulling up pieces of like the styrofoam, like the foam that basically like all the little fake plants go into. She's in like plant life, fake plant life is like kind of flying around everywhere. At one point you see like a tombstone fly and hit the back wall.
Okay. I'll kind of like lean in conspiratorially and whisper to them. So I think there might be a lead. There's something that could potentially be in the attic. We can always search for things on the way there to find it. Could be worth looking into.
Yeah, plus possibly in the attic we might be lucky and there might be some stuff left behind because yeah, just in case if anyone else wanted to throw an axe at us.
I might know the best way to get to the attic. And I say that with complete confidence.
I know what you're doing. Do it.
I'm going to use second star to the right.
Oh.
Which is roll plus wisdom.
Yeah.
That is the wrong chat. I almost put that into the Twitch chat.
Just puts like r/2d6 into Twitch chat. Like, come on, why aren't you working?
Okay, so you get
9.
one question.
What is the best way to get to the destination without being seen? Because I don't want to attract the other sisters.
I would say that you're not entirely sure of the location of the sisters. You know that the rumors were like there are animatronics of the sisters kind of throughout the house at various points because they're supposed to be like little jump scares. But you do know that there's kind of like this winding maintenance tunnel that kind of goes in between some of the rooms. And you do have to go through like a couple of the rooms, but it's probably your best shot. You're not entirely like you know of the maintenance tunnel, if that makes sense. It's kind of one of those you've watched in a documentary, like a behind the scenes of the attraction sort of deal.
I'll whisper about it.
Yeah.
If we take the maintenance tunnel, we can get there a heck of a lot quicker, and we'll probably go through fewer rooms, which means fewer sisters.
Works for me.
Yeah. Plus I can help get through there as well.
Just for the record, if I had missed on that, I would have chosen the worst route possible.
Oh.
You go through every single room along the thing, even ones that you're not supposed to go into.
I would have met the mother before I met the heart.
Yeah, no, I will say, like, you do know that the mother is, like, supposed to be in the room before the attic, and, like, supposedly this maintenance tunnel actually kind of, like, yeah, there's a door that leads into that room, but you don't actually have to, like, encounter her specifically beforehand, if that's not what you want to do. So you, as you kind of like look around, you actually see a small door that's dressed up to look like one of the doors that like kind of leads to one of the rooms in the hall, but it is painted a slightly darker color, which, Kevin, you would know that indicates that that's for, you know, kind of like an indicator that, okay, yeah, it's supposed to be a way to get into this maintenance area.
Like in the old cartoons, you can tell what part's going to move because it's slightly lighter than all the other parts of the picture.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So Kevin will go over to the door and just motion for Marguerite and Gray to follow him and just open it and go. Yeah, this is the tunnel, so be careful, watch your step.
Okay.
I'll go through.
Yep.
Yeah. So who is there like a marching order for this?
I mean, I have the flashlight on my phone.
Mm,
Okay. So I'm guessing you're going first, and
I'm banking on the fact that being the gangly thing that I am, I'll be the least attractive to things that want to eat me.
all right. So who's following Dominic?
I think Kevin has more knowledge of the maintenance tunnels, so Marguerite would hang back.
okay. So Kevin would be like in the middle, just giving Dominic like the directions and just being like, okay, don't go in that door, go through this door.
Okay, cool. So as you start to walk through and you're kind of like going through, at first the tunnel goes straight and there's like one or two rooms that you have to go through, and you can tell that like the way it's built, you can actually see like the rooms that you do have to go through, are kind of like built on this weird scale where it's like at a slight angle, and the props that are closer, it's kind of like this weird haunted museum-esque Victorian house. And as you kind of like go through, you notice that like it's built on an incline, so like the props towards the back are actually smaller, and they look big. For those of you who have ridden the ride before, you're like, wait, this thing comes up to my knees. What? This looks life size. And it's just one of those weird illusory tricks that the park has. Kevin, I'm sure you know all about it. Marguerite too, because you've been behind the scenes enough to see some of this stuff. As you walk through, you get to a music room that you kind of have to go through, and as you enter the room, where there would normally be music playing, you instead hear like this deathly silence, and you get to about the halfway point in the room, and suddenly you hear footsteps approaching.
Okay, my instinct is hide.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think like possibly after meeting Iris, the first instinct might be to hide as well.
Yeah, or try to be sneaky.
Mm.
Okay, there is, which is the one for hide?
I think that's wicked.
I know it's like, I think it's wicked. I know it's wicked if you want to make an NPC hide or run away. Because there's the bury teeth and ambitions. I'm just double checking here.
That's
I think
more
actually,
intimidation.
yeah, I think I know somebody had a move. Oh, if you're looking, Dominic, you could actually roll second star to the right again. And there is a question that's asking, like, where's a good place to hide, sort of a thing.
That is true.
Yeah.
Correct chat this time.
Oh.
It'll give me 2.
Okay. So yeah.
So best place to hide.
Best place to hide is going to probably there's like a wardrobe that's sitting like behind the piano, and it's mostly for decorative things. But you kind of like talk back and forth with Kevin and Marguerite for a minute, and they are able to tell you like, hey, that's probably like a closet, and that's probably the best place to hide. And all three of you could potentially fit. It might be a little snug, but you could fit.
Yeah, I'm just gonna motion and go into it. Come on.
Yeah, I'll follow.
And you get a second question.
I want to hold that.
Okay, go ahead and hold that. And yeah, so after a few moments pass, you hear the footsteps kind of get louder and louder, and you hear someone sit at the piano. Like, you hear that, like, little thud of somebody just kind of, like, flopping down on the piano bench. And after a few moments, you start to hear, like, this really morose melody start to play. It's, very, like, it's like an adagio tempo, so, like, walking, not too slow, but it just sounds, definitely written in a minor key. But it seems like whoever is in here is, sitting at the piano playing when you guys
Probably
are
here for the duration.
Yeah, might be here for a minute.
Might be here for a bit while they play.
So wait, are we right outside the attic then?
You're almost to the attic. The music room is like a couple of rooms before. Because there are a couple of spots in the maintenance like tunnels, because there's a little disconnected, so there's like 1 or 2 points where you kind of have to like cross over through a room to get to the maintenance tunnel on the other side because of the way the tracks wind.
Now I have my second question.
Yeah.
What is the best way to get to the destination without being seen?
Without being seen, if you could find a way to make a distraction without being noticed, because you are in a closet and there's a piano like, only a few feet away.
I'm gonna lean in close to Marguerite. I'm like, does your tablet have flashlight mode?
I will check and see if there's a button for that.
Because I have an idea, but it's gonna mean I lose my cell phone.
Oh.
I'm guessing if it's a
I
tablet.
mean, it's a tablet, yeah. It would have, it has like a camera and stuff. The camera's not like as high quality as like a telephone, but that's usually most tablets anyway.
Yeah.
I am, just to be clear, because they're playing the piano, they wouldn't be able to hear something slide on the floor, right?
No, they wouldn't hear anything slide on the floor. No, you wouldn't. They wouldn't.
I'm going to turn my phone on to max volume. I'm going to set an alarm for 30 seconds with a jazz tone, and I'm going to slide it across the floor away from us.
Okay. Oh. And I would say that she probably would, like, because, the piano has the back of it, like, lifted. She probably wouldn't even see you, like, crack the thing just enough to... So you slide it across the room, and a very tense 30 seconds passes, and then all of a sudden you hear, like, just super loud, high-pitched, like, really uncomfortable sax solo. That's joined by, like, a clarinet and a few other instruments after a few moments, and you suddenly hear as the chair sort of scoots back, or the bench, excuse me, scoots back, and she, whoever this is, actually stands up and kind of like knocks it over to the side, and you just hear as she starts sort of tearing through and sort of looking for the source, notices the flashlight, and you actually, yeah. So she's like trying to figure out exactly where that is and where people are.
We're gonna duck and try to use as many of the objects in the room as cover as we can, and the piano itself, to get out.
Yeah. Also sorry for like a brief moment. Like I was just imagining like a very terrible rendition of Careless Whispers.
I was literally like, the reason it took me a second was because I was gonna try to think of like a 2-second little like melody that's just like distinct enough, but also like that could be Careless Whisper. But I was like, I don't think I can do that.
I had two alternatives. One was bodies, let the bodies hit the floor. And the other was, it was straight from TikTok, where it just starts out with run and then does that heavy downbeat.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so as you all sort of sneak past, you hear her, you actually see like the hilt of a sword, and this girl with long red hair sort of like looking around for people, and she's getting like really frustrated, and she pulls out her sword, and you watch Dominic as your phone is stabbed straight through with the sword. She's not happy because she couldn't find you.
Well, I don't think Kaylee's gonna be able to get a hold of me.
But you did make it out. And you're back
that was
again.
a $600 cell phone. I mean, granted, the alternative was a sword through the chest, but
listen, Gray.
Priorities.
If my next paycheck, I'll lend you money to get a new phone.
Honestly, if we reach morning, I'll be very surprised if you're still getting paid. This is a very messed up place.
I mean, get like, I don't know, maybe they'll give me extra pay at the end. I don't know.
You're getting overtime for the event.
I don't think you get hazard pay when the person causing the hazard is the one that's working here.
Then again, I don't even know if I recognize like anyone though. Like, usually the sisters are animatronics. Unless you're trying to convince me that's a killer animatronic, which is ridiculous.
I recognize that an axe went by my head, and that sword was sharp enough to stab through a cell phone.
Fair point.
Those were the salient features that I noticed.
Yeah, you know what? Fair point. You've got fair points.
I'm just saying, like, if this is how the park is run,
may want to not get to.
Have you tried working at the mall? maybe going to what's left of Radio Shack. There's probably fewer ghosts there.
I already told you that I already worked at Radio Shack.
But was it this bad? Was there more than one employee actively trying to kill you?
Maybe it's a fluke. Maybe it's just haunted on this particular night. Although it seems a little sadistic of them to invite 300 people.
That's actually a fair point.
If they knew that was going to happen. Maybe
they could not be working here at all. They could just be people that came in and took advantage, like serial killers or something.
In which case, it might be a good idea to continue, find his heart.
Yeah, I'm assuming you're like walking and talking through the tunnel
Yeah.
now that you're far enough
Yeah.
away.
Yeah.
Not like we're gonna pause and talk right outside the room.
No.
My
But yeah,
idea, I mean, I didn't see any particular way out as we were moving around. So our best bet is probably to find the heart, but I imagine that when
Yeah.
we get out, you probably want to use that nifty little radio to inform somebody that there are psychotic murderers in the haunted mansion. Real ones, not the animatronic ones.
yeah. So get to heart, find a mother, get out, contact someone, and yeah. Hopefully everyone else is doing okay.
Very entertained that nobody is questioning yet why I know where I'm going.
I mean, I did say that it was possibly like a documentary or something. They like a behind the ride sort of a thing. So I mean, but who knows?
Is there there is a documentary for Haunted Castle.
There's actually like
Because they did the documentary of changing it over to the Halloween themes and the Christmas themes.
There's a bunch of documentaries out there. There's like unofficial licensed ones. Like I watched this person called Defunct Land who does like a lot of like the rides that used to be there, not just at Disney, but like at Universal and like all these other places. But Disney did officially put out a behind the attractions thing that I've been watching over the past couple of days. Because I like that sort of thing. And yeah, there is a whole episode on the Haunted Mansion and the history, and I totally referenced a little bit of it, just a smidge of it, because I thought it'd be funny. But
I'm slightly worried now that if we go to Futureland, it's going to be Five Nights at Freddy's.
But yeah, shiny objects. I digress. I'm a Disney nerd, everyone, and yeah, there are documentaries, and I know people like that sort of thing. So if you are into that sort of thing, check it out. Anywho, so you make it through, and you were only a couple of rooms away from the attic, and you reach the attic, and you find everything seems to be in its place. But the way they've built these props, it looks cluttered. There's like a mannequin with like this old Victorian-esque wedding dress. There's, like piles of like portraits. There's boxes. There's, it's like your standard attic, even like old school lamps. It's meant to look like somebody was storing their things here.
Are there any like boxes or like things that look like a little treasure chest where a heart might be?
There are several like chests and boxes and that sort of there are like multiple chests, boxes of various sizes. If you open up one of the chests, there's like, papers and stuff because they really wanted this to seem hyper realistic. The papers really don't have anything important written on them. But they're there for the effect. And yeah, but you don't immediately see like a box that says, "This is the heart of so-and-so." So it would take a little bit of searching.
If Edgar Allan Poe taught me anything, it's to listen.
Would I be able to find something that wasn't there before to see if that will help?
I think based off of what I'm looking at from the different roles, I don't think it tells you exactly where a thing is. But it's probably like your best bet because you can ask one of those questions, one or two of those questions, or you can hold on to those questions as well.
Okay.
So if you want to roll it, feel free.
Oh god, for some reason the Google Sheets is being very weird for me.
One of you two has access to the internet, right?
I do have, I believe I have access to the internet
I'm
on
willing
my
to
tablet.
bet that if you Google the heart, the Baroness's heart, it'll pull up a picture of either the heart or what it's contained in, which would probably help us find it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the tablet does have access to the internet, but it's kind of like, like the like school. It is a little bit restricted, so you can't go to like every single website. But it's worth a shot. But
Yeah, I'll give it a try.
Do you want to try that first then? Like, search it up?
Well, either way, the cool thing about these rolls is that if you do the roll and you don't have an immediate question, you just hold on to it, and you can ask that question
Okay.
later.
yeah,
Okay,
and
so
that would carry over as well. I would
okay.
say.
So like can just if I hold on to something and the session ends, can just write a note that I still have that for next session.
Yeah, I'll allow that. Because I don't want it to be like,
Okay.
oh, I just wasted a roll for nothing.
And it's for a lot of the time in the games, it's hit or miss of like it would go away after a scene just because you've left that location and the question isn't viable anymore.
Yeah.
But if we're still looking for the heart by the end of the session, then yeah, it's still relevant.
Okay. So yeah, I guess I'll do that, and while Marguerite is searching up stuff.
Yeah, so if you want to go ahead and roll, you got a 9, so you can hold one question for now.
Okay.
Marguerite, what exactly is it you are searching specifically?
I'll put in like Countess Van Housen plus heart and search that first.
Okay. So it takes a couple of minutes. But you do find, you kind of have to like figure out, okay, I can't go to this site, can't go to that site. But you do find like a Druid's, like an unofficial blog about Druid's Dream World. And in it's, whoever this is like a huge fan, and they actually managed to somehow get a hold of the blueprints of what the heart prop was supposed to be, to look like. And it's like, it was essentially supposed to be like this music box, with like this special, like this really pretty like filigree and that sort of thing. And it was supposed to like see the crank wind, and then open and then reveal the heart that was supposed to be like beating on the inside. But you do get a picture of what that box is supposed to look like.
Okay, I'll show it to them, and start searching for that.
Okay.
Let's say split up, but that hasn't really seemed like a wise idea so far.
I mean, it's all one room, right? Just the attic is all.
Yeah, it's all one room. There's not really like a search either. This is the one thing I'm like trying to figure out. Unless you wanted to try to ask your question,
I could try my personality move, find out what all this is again. It's more for information than searching, though. Although if I get a 10 plus, you reveal a secret that we weren't looking for, but is useful.
Okay. Yeah, if you want to give that a go, feel free. An 11.
So I find the information I was looking for explained by you or through the narrative, and then let's see. I'll go with the narrator reveals another secret that you were not looking for, but is useful to the situation.
Okay. So Let's see. You find it. Discover a litany of information. As a result, gets +1 forward. Okay. So you get that +1 forward. And you discover a couple of things. You find among the papers in one of the chests that you're looking through, it's actually a blueprint with the layout, and it says that the box is supposed to have been center on this shelf, but it looks like but in its place there were like these books on the shelf, if that makes sense. Like the shelf was supposed to be like in the center of the room for the audience to see on the ride, but there were like books. But you do know that the books are, a lot of times these books and stuff are really just props, so they're not, they could be hollow, they could be like just a facade. And you also find useful to the situation. You find another piece of paper that has this particular date written on it, along with a bunch of like astrological like charts and symbols and stuff. And you see circled that date circled, and you see written on it in red ink, "This is the night that she will rise."
Okay. Interesting.
But you do know where the heart is supposed to be. And you know that those books aren't necessarily
Real books.
Yeah.
We could try moving them, pulling them off, and opening them.
Yeah, so you go over, and after you find this and you're kind of parsing through, you pull the book off, and you see that it's actually just like this hollow box, and when you open it, you actually see the music box prop inside. And when you lift the lid, the heart is in there. And whereas you know it was supposed to be like, probably like some kind of plastic with lights and stuff, you in fact see in its place like a real heart that's just beating on its own.
Well,
This is going to be an entirely inappropriate declaration. but Dominic's going to stare like very pale, and then unable to resist just goes, "Be still my beating heart."
Okay.
I don't know if I should be happy with that pun or if I should be mortified.
Yes.
Oh.
Kevin, do you want to reach out to her on your walkie-talkie since she seemed to be listening?
Sure. And Kevin will just, click in on his walkie-talkie and go, madam, we found your heart, over. Is that how... And then just looks back like, that was the weirdest thing I've ever said in my life.
Through the radio static, again it takes a few minutes, but through the radio static you finally hear, "Excellent. I've been searching for that for quite some time. Place it at the edge of my door, and I will allow you to leave."
All right, madam.
The door is right before the attic, right?
Yeah, it's like right, the door, the room that her animatronic would have been in is like right before the attic room.
Mm-hmm.
And the attic room is like the last stop on the ride.
Who wants to put the heart by the door?
I'll take it over.
Okay, you do that.
Okay, so I'm guessing you do the thing.
Leave it by the door like she asked.
We are farther back down the hallway.
We are right behind you.
I just imagine like Marguerite's like walking over and like placing the box on the ground like right before the door, and you just see in the background shot Dominic and Kevin kind of like taking steps back, like we're not leaving you at all. Marguerite, it takes it like almost instantaneously as you set the box down, you see a clawed hand, you know, like her nails have turned into claws. You just see a clawed hand kind of like reach out, the door sort of opening on its own, and you see it clasp over the box and drag it in, and the door closes behind it. Kevin, through the static, you hear, "Enjoy the rest of your evening."
I will step away from the door and join my friends.
This is probably going to be like another like inappropriate reaction, but I'm just thinking like Kevin's just standing there, and then you just hear him mutter, "I haven't been this on edge since the day I first came out."
I love it. Kevin, sweet bean. All right.
Wait a minute. Is Van Helsing Dimitrescu? Clawed hand and 7 daughters.
I've actually never played. I haven't played Resident Evil Village yet. I've seen a little bit of the gameplay, but I might have been leaning into big, tall vampire lady. Okay, don't judge me.
Big tall vampire lady. Kevin would be interested in her, but his player certainly is.
I wasn't making references at all this entire game.
Kevin's like, I need to call my boyfriend. I've had a shocker overnight. Mommy, sorry. What?
Oh, I love it. Okay, so you, everybody kind of like starts heading towards where the ride would have normally exited, and you know that it kind of like leads out, and you find that there was like this big iron gate that had closed, but as you approach the exit, it actually raises on its own and kind of allows you to leave, and you successfully manage to return the heart of Von Hausen to
as we walk out. Just real quick, as we walk out, I'm going to turn around and just snap a picture.
Oh, gosh, I love it. And it kind of like leads in back into like the lobby. There's like an exit on the other side, and you're able to just kind of walk through, and there's a little gift shop, and there's just like this small person kind of manning, and they're like, would you like any memorabilia?
Did you take a picture of us while we were in there or something?
No, the cameras stopped working.
Of course they did.
But we got hoodies.
Is it black?
There's black and like deep green and purples, and
I'll take a black one.
Yeah, and they'll sell you a hoodie and all that. And it's got like random bits and bobs, like there's like a little crystal ball, and there's like a little piano, and you see a couple of like the fake weapons made out of foam that the daughters would be wielding and all of that. And yeah, so you successfully escaped. Is there anything else anybody wanted to do before we wrap up?
I need to call my
I think like once we're out of the place, I think this might actually be like a good way to stop. Kevin will just go on try to put on his radio again and go, is there anyone else from the maintenance department on the line, please? Over.
You hear your boss's voice come through and be like, yeah, Kevin, what's up?
So, back at the haunted palace ride, I've me and my group have experienced some oddities there. The ride randomly shut down. Uh, and it seemed like one of the the countess, like, and her daughters. It seemed like one of them, Iris with like the axe, uh seemed to act a bit hostile. So yeah, I'm not sure what is up with that, really.
It takes a few moments for you to get a response. There's kind of just radio silence, and then after those moments have passed, you just hear in response, "Tonight is special. Your goal? Survive and provide your guests with the experience of a lifetime. If you wish to join the family, you must survive. Happy Halloween." And suddenly you'll hear like radio static, like the channels have been changed. And I think that's a good place to end the session.
Yeah.
So yeah. Ride
Boss
number
lady,
one
what the
complete.
Yay.
Welcome to Druid's Dream World. So yeah, let's go ahead. I hope you all had fun this evening. I certainly did. Once I kind of got, some pain stuff and made it kind of like function a little better. Yay, life. Anywho. So I had a lot of fun. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I hope you enjoyed yourselves, and I hope all of my players have enjoyed themselves. And we are actually going to go ahead and bid farewell for the evening. Let's start with Star. Who are you? Who'd you play? And did you have fun? Or any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm Star. You can find me on the internet at Madrad Starchild. I played Marguerite, the Goth princess, and it was a lot of fun. I think I didn't end up doing this, but I thought about escaping my coffin chair with my taser. But
I'm gonna try to shock the chair into letting
just
me go.
vandalize the chair.
I mean, the metal's connected to you too.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, it would have been interesting.
That's probably what would have happened if you'd failed the roll.
Yeah.
Oh goodness, that would have been interesting for sure. But yeah, is there anything else you wanted to say, do anything like that? Or where can we find you?
I will be in another. Yeah, you can find me at Madred Starchild on Twitter and Twitch and stuff. I'm not super active all the time, but I'm around and I do stuff. Sometimes I try to post links when I do. So.
All right, awesome. Good to hear. So, like I said, we're going in reverse order. So, you're in the middle again, Rain. Who are you? Who did you play? And any parting thoughts for the evening? Where can we find you? All that jazz.
I am Rain Hayes, the stoner, playing the stoner photographer who jinxes everybody's rolls for 3 rounds in a row with one mild comment. And you can find me on Dungeon Masters Guild, where I have several products, and we're on hiatus right now, but ATB and I are actually in a streamed game on the Bart Knox channel that's Final Fantasy.
Yeah.
Where I play a Chaos Kitty named Reno Boom.
Yay!
And other than that, I don't do anything. As far as thoughts for tonight, that was like, how you never know how your character's voice is going to come out until you start playing them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he is very mellow for somebody that just experienced vampires.
Yeah. Everybody seemed to be pretty like, okay, we're just gonna keep it moving.
let's exit and then have our panic.
Right. Yeah.
Just wait for the adrenaline to wear off and then scream into the void.
All right, so moving right along here. ATB, who are you? Who'd you play? Any parting thoughts? And where can we find you on the internet?
Uh, Hi, I am a tired by. I played Kevin Merlo, it who is kind of a bit freaked out about everything, but who knows? Maybe there's some sort of logical reasoning behind this. Maybe. Uh, as for my thoughts, this was super fun and I can't wait for like the rest of it. And I hope that I wasn't too rambly.
Nah.
Although it was kind of fun to just make up lore on the spot for stuff.
Yeah, that's one of the great things about Powered by the Apocalypse games. It's so much fun.
Yeah. And as for where you can find me, like Rain said, even though we are on hiatus, and I forgot about this, thank you, Rain. I am also, I do have a game on the Bardic Nox channel called Final Fantasy Rebels of Spira. There I play a more of a less happy character. Or
You played the other goth princess.
the goth princess, also known as the Dark Knight Lilith, who is basically not like Kevin in that she would have immediately tried to fight the vampires with her sword, whip sword, and also she is pan rather than gay.
This is fair.
Basically, a lot of my OCs when I create them usually just lot end up being like LGBT.
This is totally fair and valid.
As it should be.
Yeah.
And
I don't think I have like hardly any straight characters, but that's shiny objects.
But yeah. Then over on the Undead K's channel, every second Thursday we have Curse of Strahd Barovian Days. There I play Zatari the ASMR Bard. And she is honestly I've been kind of going back and forth on if I want her to just be full on lesbian or bisexual, but either way,
it's all yeah.
It depends. Anyway, her reaction to the vampires would have been easily, oh shit, not again. Fly away.
All right. Was that it for you?
Think that's it.
Okay.
Don't really have much else going on. You can find me wandering in other Discords or Twitch servers, and if that doesn't work, just scream into the void 3 times and I shall appear and steal your snacks.
This is fair. All right, and finally, I have been Kay, also known as Undead K. You can find me here. Hopefully, our hiatus for Kingdom Hearts Streams from Nobodies will be done soon. It's just real life keeps happening. So thank you so much if you've been tuning in and bearing with us on that. But that does occur on Tuesdays. On this channel, on my own channel, I do run a bi-weekly Curse of Strahd D&D 5e campaign, which is a lot of fun, and it's been going on. It's like a long-going campaign, and we're like approaching session 30 soon. But and they haven't even found the first like thing that they need to find for the main quest, but it's fine.
It's fine. We're having fun and going at our own pace.
Yeah. And I should hopefully, now that I've got my PC back up and working finally, I should be running stuff on my own Twitch channel, which is just Undead K, here in the near future as well. And as for Nerds with Dice is an absolutely amazing community, and they do have a Discord channel that you can actually find in their About section on here. And you can also purchase, I need to go ahead and yes, thank you, ATB. They also have merchandise now, t-shirts and various other things, and they're super awesome, and I'm like eyeballing and like when am I coming into a little bit more money and maybe I'll get a t-shirt or something. So it's great stuff. And then Nerds with Dice is also now partnered with, where are my notes? I'm just trying to find, here we go. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, so they are also partnered with Coffee Company, which is a Black and LGBTQ plus coffee-owned company that is absolutely amazing, and they've got really great like blends and stuff. And another thing that I've been eyeballing, if you use the link provided, you could also get 10% off by using the Nerds with Dice coupon code. Anywho, thank you so much for tuning in, and we will be back next Saturday with another rousing round of Rise of Rosie. Everybody stay safe, stay healthy, and do something kind for yourself this evening. Bye!
Bye.